So, whose fault is it if things don't go well during the holidays? Is it your fucked up family's fault? No, it's on you. And it's not your fault, it's your responsibility. Hi, and welcome back to the Smart Couple Podcast. My name is Jayson Gaddis. I'm your host, and I am one part of a smart couple. The other part is my partner, Ellen, who sometimes comes on. She won't be with us today. She'll be coming on soon. We are scheming our next episode together. Anyway, if you're joining us now for the first time, welcome. It's great to have you here. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. Some of you really look forward to this, so I hear. My job is to deliver a lot of excellent relationship content that will help you in your intimate partnership. And if you are single, my job is to educate you about your past relationships and help you prepare for the next one. You don't need my help in the honeymoon phase, however. You rock that out like anybody does. You're sexy, you're charming, you're funny, it's all good with you, you don't get triggered, we're doing great, hey, all is well. None of us need help with the dopamine phase of the first few months of a relationship. Now, not all of us experience that, I get that. I didn't really experience that with my wife, but anyone I was infatuated with initially, I did experience that with. And it felt really good. That's when the poetry came out. That's when I was high on drugs, the drugs of the new relationship. And you kind of can't go wrong in that first week or month or two. It feels really good. If you've ever experienced that, right, it's amazing. And that's what all the sappy love songs are written from, is that stage. Now, any smart person knows that eventually crashes and burns. And then you are living with or partnered with someone who begins to get annoying, irritating, challenging, frustrating, and triggers you in places that don't feel very good. Well, that's where we come in here at the Smart Couple. We teach you how to deal with those challenges. All right. Week in and week out, I'm giving you tips, tools, and tactics to help your relationship life after the drugs wear off. Now, in this episode, I want to cover a very, very important conversation. What is it? It's the conversation about our family and our family of origin. So, family of origin in my world is defined as the family you grew up with. That's your family of origin, where you originated. All right? Mommy and daddy had sex, out came you, and you popped into this family that was like a jigsaw puzzle, and maybe you felt like you didn't really fit, or they felt like you didn't really fit. And thus began this arduous journey of being in a family, which if you're in denial can feel like, great, I had a great family. Everything was great and perfect and wonderful. But that's really rare. Most of us get a few cuts and bruises along the way in a family, and that helps us become who we are. So today we're going to dive into the family of origin. Why? Because I'm going to help you deal with the family drama of the holidays. You might be going home for the holidays, you might be staying home and the in-laws might be coming over, or you might be avoiding going home because you are triggered by your family of origin and you want nothing to do with them this time of year. And that's you taking care of yourself. Well, great. At a certain point, though, you got to come out of your cave and be a grown-up and deal with your family, okay? You can't cut your family off or avoid them forever, and if you do, the baggage will follow you. If you run away from any relationship problem that's really challenging, your issues, your part of that dynamic are going to follow you like a tail. And I experience that tail getting longer and heavier when I work with people, the older they get. In other words, the longer you put off your shit and dealing with your shit, the heavier it gets and the harder it is to face. So, it's just in your best interest to face your own stuff in relationship to your partner, your family, and all the relationship challenges you have in your life. So we're veering off a little bit in this episode to give you not as much marriage advice, let's say, or long-term partnership advice, but this is a broader episode on general relationship advice, but it's very specific to family relationships. And if you've ever partnered with someone, like in marriage, you marry their family. And now you're living with, at certain times of the year, you're living with their family, the in-laws. And for some of us, that can be really challenging. I feel like I scored. I have great in-laws, and I feel like my wife scored. I have a good family. And at the same time, our families are challenging, just like they feel like I'm challenging with them, right? So no one is not challenging. We're all challenging in our own way. And I'm going to give you some really specific tools to face the holidays here. All right, so let's dive in. And as always, stay tuned to the very end for your action step. Okay, so let's paint the picture here. I start working on myself at age 29. And up to this point, I generally had a good time with my family. And I was pretty, I got along with them fairly well. I got triggered and annoyed, but I didn't know how to work with myself. I had no tools. So I would drink around the family or whatever, watch TV, do the normal family thing. When I started working on myself, I started seeing things that I wasn't seeing before. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I started going, oh, I don't like that actually, or, ooh, I feel insecure here, or, ooh, I feel really confident here, and I can't believe I'm letting my family treat me this way, or whatever it is, right? And I started to wake up to the fact that my family was challenging. I had been in denial to some degree, and the more I worked on myself, the more flaws I started to see in my family dynamics. And so I would go home for the holidays and I would avoid conversations, or I would intentionally get into arguments and my initial approach was to try to change my family. Well, you guys need to come to therapy with me, and we need to work this out. And my family was kind of caught off guard because I had been this team player up to this point, and now I was an adversary, and I became the most challenging person in the family. I was definitely the identified patient at this point, as they call it in sort of group therapy speak or family therapy speak. In other words, I was the one that everybody was like, what is his problem? I was the black sheep of the family that went from being the man to being the pain in everybody's ass. And because I was calling people out, I was calling behaviors out, I was judging people, I was trying to help people. I was like, you guys need help, you guys need to look at this, you're not seeing this thing. And because now I started to see shit, right? It's like I had x-ray vision and I could see through everybody's bullshit, and I didn't like it. So now I would go home for the holidays and basically get into arguments and then distancing, and the holidays became more challenging for me. So you may be able to relate to me here, and whatever the case, there's a long story I could tell, but the bottom line is things got more challenging for me, and I had tools that I was starting to learn, but no one else did really, and they didn't want to learn the tools. So this creates tension, right? You go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, the New Year, solstice, whatever you're into, or even a family reunion or someone's 50th birthday or a wedding. Weddings can bring this shit up too. And people aren't on the same page. And it turns out the family system has a bunch of different values that are all conflicting. And the only time there's peace in a family is if you go along with the sort of complacent norms of the family, right? Hey, we don't talk about this subject. We don't bring up Uncle Lenny. We don't bring up that so-and-so's an alcoholic. We just kind of shut up and let's just have a good time. And let's put on our happy face and let's just all be okay and pretend we're okay for 5 days and hold our breath, right? And some families can really do this and do this pretty well, and they just shove everything under the rug and they can get through it. Other families it's harder. And if you've got someone like you in the family, it's even harder. If there's a growth development oriented person in the system, they tend to rock the boat because they're not colluding with everybody's bullshit. And that person is probably you, right? So notice how many times you've had not a great experience. It's like you go home for these events, the weddings or the holidays, and you kind of need a vacation after the vacation. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of getting really nourished and having deep, strong connections and having a great time, you're bitter and frustrated and resentful, and you feel like drained and depleted. That's your sign that you need to shift. And what people initially do is they have it that their family needs to make the shift. You might expect, well, my family needs to change. If they would just have an open conversation with me, if they would just listen to me, or if they would just see me, they don't ask me any questions about myself, and I can't believe it, right? You're looking to them to have a different result. That's outside of your control, and I don't recommend that. All right, trust me, I tried that shit for years, and it did not work. It pretty much just backfired. Okay. So whose fault is it if things don't go well during the holidays? Is it your fucked up family's fault? No, it's on you. And it's not your fault, it's your responsibility, right? Go back and listen to the episode on the difference between fault and responsibility. Episode 66 to hear more about that. All right, so it's your responsibility to have whatever experience you're going to have during the holidays. If you want a good one, it's on you. If you want to have a shitty one, it's on you. If you want to change something dynamic in the system, that's on you. But don't expect other people to change or go along with you. All right. Now, first thing I want you to do is just look at your family role. All right. What is your role in the family in the habitual way? When the family is in their homeostatic place where everybody's playing their normal role, and the ones you did as an adolescent or in your childhood or even now, like everybody's got a role, right? And there's some really funny, great things on families that I learned in grad school about the family roles. There's the hero, there's the rescuer, there's the victim, there's the IP, there's the blamer, there's the villain. Every family has a bunch of roles. What is your role, all right? Are you caretaking family members, or do you not need anything from your family, so you're kind of the invisible one? Or maybe you're the one everybody picks on. Maybe you're the protector. Maybe you're the kind of other parent because your parents are so immature, and so you're like holding out the protector role. Or maybe you're like the artist, creative artist, that you feel like no one gets you. Yeah, no one understands you. You've got this case of terminal uniqueness, and no one really gets it and thinks you're that unique. They just sort of ignore you, or they're always judging you, right? And the deal is, whatever your role is, your whole family thinks they know you, right? They've got you in a box, and they think they know you, just like you think you know your family. So our roles calcify over time, and people, usually because there's a payoff, a secondary and primary payoff, and we stay stuck in our roles. So what's your role, right? So that's kind of sets the stage. Now, I'm going to go through 7 tips for you that are going to help you navigate this crazy holiday time, all right? So number 1 is have a context for yourself. Treat going home for the holidays, or your in-laws coming to your house, your parents coming to your place, and now you have kids, and so you're having to set boundaries or whatever. Consider this a dojo for you, right? This type of experience is the ultimate training ground for you to get stronger. So if you have that mindset and that context, it's going to go better for you. If you go in with this childish, magical thinking that you're going to go home and your parents are going to finally see you, or finally listen to you, or finally ask about you, you're going to be pissed off because it's not going to happen. So instead, flip it around. Okay, the context for you going home for the holidays is it's a dojo. It's a training ground for you to get stronger and practice your relational chops with what you're learning here. Number 2, take the attitude that you're not a victim. Take responsibility instead. Okay, I had a mentor Bruce Tift, who's I interviewed for this podcast, tell me in grad school, it's always up to the most mature person in any given moment to set the tone of the family situation and do the repair, make the apology, set the boundary, or whatever, right? And that mature person, emotionally mature person we're talking about, is probably you. So you need to take responsibility and take your seat as the most emotionally mature person in your family, unless you know you have a sibling or someone who's done way more work on themselves and is a lot more sophisticated relationally than you are, and you're maybe the student here. But chances are you're going to be the most emotionally mature person in your family, right? When you don't do this, you're allowing the lesser mature people to call the shots during your holiday break. And then you get pissed and you get resentful, you get annoyed, and you want to avoid, right? I don't recommend that. So I'm saying don't sit on the sidelines here and be a victim about it. Step into a leadership role and say, okay, I'm going to set the tone. I'm going to take good care of myself. It doesn't mean you have to tell anyone else what to do. It just means, hey guys, I don't like the way this conversation's going. I'm going to get up and leave the dinner table. I need to go take care of myself. This doesn't work for me. Right? So for example, if your family gets into a really heated conversation about politics and you've got people on both sides and all they're doing is arguing and no one's listening to anybody, that you could play referee there if you want, or you could say, you know what, excuse me, I'm just not interested in this conversation, and excuse yourself. That's what the most emotionally mature person will do in that situation. Another situation is the most emotionally mature person stands up in that example and says, time out, everybody. Hey, hold on, time out. Everybody be quiet, please. All right, I appreciate the discussion here. And can we save the political conversation as an optional conversation for anyone wants to dive into that after dinner over in the family room over there. But for now, let's finish our dinner and let's please change the subject and let's go around and just say what we're grateful for this Thanksgiving. And take command of the dinner table, right? That's what the most emotionally mature person does. That's typically the father figure or mother figure. It doesn't mean it's the mother or father. It means you in this case, you're the mother. You're more mature than your mom. So you step into that role and that's what you say. Or if you're the dad, you do the same thing, okay? This is essential. Now, I get that there's family roles. Ooh, you can't do that because dad's in charge. It's like that scene in Brokeback Mountain when Jake Gyllenhaal is going back to home for Thanksgiving. He's cutting the turkey, and the dad is like, "No, I'm cutting the turkey." And they get in this kind of argument, and Jake steps up and finally is like, "Fuck you, I'm cutting the turkey." He became in that moment the most emotionally mature person in the family. He wasn't going to let his dad bully him. Because his dad is anti-gay, he wasn't going to let his dad bully him, right? So he stepped up and said, no, I'm cutting the goddamn turkey, right? So again, however you want to play it, and sometimes it's going to be messy. Sometimes it's not all clean and polite and neat. But sometimes that's what needs to happen. When the parent steps in there's a wrestling match going on, the parent needs to get angry to get everybody to hear them. You got to raise your voice sometimes, okay? So that's step 2. Take responsibility, take command. Step 3, choose your battles by setting boundaries, including setting boundaries ahead of time. This is essential too. You don't have to get into a battle with everybody and be the most mature person. You can say, I'm opting out of this one. I don't want to get into the political conversation. So that's the example where you get up and you remove yourself and say, excuse me, guys, I don't want to talk about politics. If anyone wants to join me over here about what we're grateful for or what I'm grateful for or have a discussion about what you're up to in your life, I'd love to hear about your life. So we're going to do that in the other room or however you need to do it, okay? Or let's say a sibling has no skills and they have no tools and all they do is blame everybody and they blame you and they've cut other family members off and they just go right into their whole diatribe and they get on their soapbox and they tell you how it is and how you should be and everything like that. You could get into a big battle with them, or you could just say, no thanks. You know what? I'm not interested in this conversation. I'm going to, no thanks. And if you want to talk about something else, cool, I'm interested, but right now, no, I'm a no to that. So that's setting a boundary. Okay, building off of this, is step 4. If you have a partner and you're with your partner going home for the holidays or having the in-laws over or whoever, have your partner's back. Don't throw each other under the bus. Right? I can't tell you how many times I've been with people and they make disparaging comments about their partner in front of them or when they're not there. So the holidays around your family are challenging enough. If you're going home with a partner, have an agreement ahead of time. Hey, let's have each other's back. Please, no sarcastic comments toward each other. And if you have that as a habit, again, you're killing the intimacy and what's possible in the depth of your relationship. So I'd recommend cleaning that up before you go home. All right. In my experience, sarcasm, the vast majority of the time, and disparaging comments or jokey, kind of mean-spirited comments toward your partner or about your partner are going on because you have a resentment. And there's some irritation you have about them, a judgment you have, and likely it's historical and it's built up over time. Clean it up before you go home so that you can, when you get under stress in your family and you're triggered, you can go into the guest room and you two can talk about what's going on. You can process how you're doing. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Or, wow, honey, you're really struggling. I'm here for you. Because the beauty of having a partner that has your back is they're not in your family. And oftentimes they're a little more resourced than you are because they don't get triggered in the same ways because they haven't lived with these people for 18 plus years, right? So I love the fact that my wife and I have each other's back when we go home or when we're around each other's families. It's very, very helpful. It's very resourcing. And I found that that gives me the strength to go into adversity or whatever the challenges are in either family. And I feel supported, like she's got my back. Okay, so step 4, have your partner's back. Okay, step 5 is choose to get your family's world, their reality, their values, and stop expecting the conversation to come and be about you. Stop expecting your family to ask you questions. Stop expecting your family to be like you. And instead, take the time and energy to explore who they are. Now, you, like me, have probably put your family in a box at times and said, oh, they're this way. They're so this, they're so that. He's so this, she's so that. When we do that, we leave very little room for our curiosity to come in and explore who they are today, in this moment. Some of you might not see your family but a couple times a year. And all the more reason to, if you feel inspired and it's genuine, to explore who they are. You know, Uncle Fred, Aunt Sue, your sister, Jeanette, your brother, Sam. Check them out. Explore their job. What's inspiring to you right now, brother? What are you most scared of right now in your life, sister? Take the conversation deeper and get interested in who they are and what's up for them. Maybe they just went through a divorce. Well, hey, sister, I understand you just went through a divorce. How are you? This is big. Well, I don't want to talk about it. Are you sure? Because I'm not over here judging you. I just want to listen and I want to understand what happened if you're open to telling me. And there you'll find if you are curious about what your family cares about and what each member cares about, you will find that they will open up to you. And if they don't, no problem. You made an effort and you reached out to them. Don't let this be a should, though. If you do this from a should because I heard this on a podcast, it's going to fall flat. Do it only because you have nothing better to do and they're not asking about you. So you may as well practice some of these skills and learn about who your family members are. Okay, so take an interest in who they are and what they care about in life. And do not expect the favor to be returned. End of story. Because it's not going to be. That little boy or little girl inside of you that wants someone in your family to finally see you or get you, just plan on it never happening. Then you don't have to be disappointed when your expectations continue year after year to get not met. Okay? It's not going to happen, most likely. So explore your family's world and who they are. And even if it's back to the political conversation, explore why it is that they have the political views that they do. And rather than try to convince them of your political views, just take an interest. And gosh, tell me more about why you believe that about gay people or Hispanic people, or why you believe that about rich people or poor people. Tell me more about why you believe that and where that comes from, because clearly that informs your life. I want to know. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to understand you, right? Make it really explicit that I'm not going to get into debate here. I just want to understand your belief system and your values. And when you do, and you do it well, they'll relax. They don't have to defend themselves anymore because they feel like you're listening and you understand where they come from. And what's cool is when you truly understand a person's belief system, including some fundamentalist diehard about anything, if you understand where it comes from, it makes sense. And you're like, oh, okay, I could see why you believe that way, why you see it this way. Got it. Thank you for helping me understand you more, right? So work that one. Okay, moving on to step 6, or tip number 6. Blame and judge them quietly because you are. Write down your judgments of them, get very specific, and then commit to getting underneath them. Now, why am I saying this? Because normally I'd say, well, no, I shouldn't blame or judge my family. No, you are anyway, in your head. So rather than pretend like you're this almighty, compassionate person that's sitting in an Om and just sending love to your family, that's just nonsense. The truth is, if you're honest and you're triggered, you can't love your family. You're triggered. You're in judgment. You are putting labels on them. And your nervous system is activated. So just go with it. Be like, okay, I'm judging them. No need to judge them out loud. Go quietly inside of your own head and then do a little journal exercise and write down what you're judging them about. Just write it down. I'm judging that my mom is emotionally shut down. I'm judging that my dad is an alcoholic. I'm judging that my sister has major financial problems and is secretly stealing money from her husband. I'm judging that my brother is a con artist and he seems to swindle people's money and he just doesn't know what he's doing. And whatever your judgments are, get at them by writing them down, admitting that, yes, I am judging my sibling. I am judging my parents. I'm judging the way they talk at the dinner table. I'm judging their political views. Just write it down. And then commit later, or if you want, while you're home, to working on them. Okay, what is this judgment about? What does this say about me? For example, if I'm judging that my sibling has all this financial ruin and all these issues, I need to, and I'm triggered by it, I need to look at my own relationship to money and be like, what does this say about me? Why am I so charged up about this? Well, maybe I have some financial issues. Or where maybe I'm really financially empowered and they're disempowered. Well, where am I disempowered in my life so that I can relate to them? Well, I'm really disempowered in my marriage. I have an awful marriage and I really judge myself there. I wonder if my sister is doing the same thing, judging herself around her finances. So, I bet I can relate to her here. You know what I'm saying? So get underneath your judgments. So really, tip 6 is like a 2-step process. Blame and judge them, but get underneath them and don't share them with them. Feel free to share them with your spouse. That can be a bonding experience, but don't be judging them as a like, they're all lame and lower down than me and I'm up here on my high horse. Not like that. Just keep judging as a way to like learn about yourself. Okay. And finally, step 7 is to learn to love them as they are. Notice I say learn. You can't love your family as they are right now. You, like me, are just limited. You don't have this unconditional positive regard to your family all the time. Even if you think you do, it's intellectual, and you don't. The moment you get triggered around your family, the moment you get emotionally charged up and activated, is the moment you stop loving them. So get underneath it through step 6 and learn what this says about you. The more you learn what your family is reflecting back to you about yourself, the more you can actually extend them love and regard. Okay, I want you to see your family as an extension of your disowned parts, the parts of you that you are not in relationship with. And we have families so that we can own more of ourselves and be whole and be who we are. So we actually need our family to upset us so that we can reclaim these disowned parts. Right? And if you want a deeper dive on that, you can have one. I teach classes on that, right? And I'll say more at the end. Okay, so those are the 7 tips for you when going home into the snare of the family drama situation. And let's review them really quick. Number 1, have a context, right? Treat this as a dojo. This is a training ground to become stronger as a human being. Number 2, no victims. You're not a victim here. You're going to take full responsibility for the kind of relationships you want in your family. And one of the ways you're going to do that is, number 3, you're going to choose your battles by setting boundaries ahead of time and in the moment. Number 4, if you've got a partner and you're there together, you're not going to throw them under the bus. You're going to have each other's back. You're going to be mutually respectful with your partner. You're going to show them care and regard and respect. Okay? You're not going to vent in your mom's ear about your husband or wife. You're going to be open and honest. And number 6, blame and judge them, but do it quietly and then dig and get underneath them so that you can move on to step 7, which is learning to love them as they are. All right? Okay. You've got this. You can do it. And have fun. Find a way to have a sense of humor while you go into the dojo of your family. Okay, here's your action step. In addition to those 7 tips, you need to have accountability here. So your action step, if you feel courageous, is you've got to find someone in the Smart Couple Facebook community or the Relationship Roots community, any of my communities, or someone, a friend of yours that listens to this podcast. Listen to it together. Could be your partner, could be a close friend, but have an agreement that, okay, I'm going to work this. I'm going to treat this holiday season as a dojo. I'm in. And then I'm going to have an accountability partner that I get to report to when I fall down, that I'm going to pick myself back up, but we're going to check in with each other at least twice between now and January 1st. It's my check-in buddy, my holiday check-in buddy, all right? And we're just going to check in. How did it go? Did you fall down? Did you get back up? Did you set a boundary? Did you throw your partner under the bus? We're going to go over the 7 tips, and you're going to see, how did you do? Score yourself, commit to learning more, have each other's back, try to challenge each other here, okay? In the Smart Couple community here, we're not just into supporting each other, la la land. We like to challenge. So you challenge your friend, your check-in buddy. Hey, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. How about the next time? Can we do that? Can you set a retroactive boundary? Hey, Mom, I know, because that can happen, right? You're in the holidays and you completely froze and you go home resentful. And you're like, God, I didn't even speak up for myself. I didn't once speak up for myself. Well, guess what? You can retroactively speak up for yourself. Just call your mom and be like, Mom, thanks a lot for the holidays. I had a pretty good time, but I just want to say I was really struggling to be myself, and I had a hard time with some of the things you said, and I didn't speak up for myself, and I want to do that now. So will you just take a few minutes and listen to me? All I need is for you to listen. I don't have a need other than that. Will you do that, Mom? Okay, you can always do it later if you screw it up and you fall down and get scared. Okay? No problem. Tell that to your check-in buddy. Challenge each other we'll do it anyway. You didn't do it there, we'll do it now. Okay? Great. Final point here is our families, your family, is waiting for you to take a stand for yourself and be you. A lot of people will tell themselves a story, well, I can't do that. My family will get too upset. I can't say that. In other words, I can't be myself because my family will be upset. That's how a lot of us have it framed. I can't be myself, so because my family will get upset. And I like to explain. Well, what happens if your family gets upset? Well, then I get upset. Oh, so you're protecting yourself from getting upset? Yeah. Did you see that you're doing that? Oh, right. Okay, so a lot of us are in self-preservation here, but we make up a story that our family can't handle us. Well, I would argue that you can't handle your family's reaction to you, so you don't speak up. You don't want to deal with that drama, right? But look, the greatest gift you can give another human being is to be courageously you, even if it upsets them. Okay, write that down. The greatest gift you can give a family member is to be unapologetically you. Please underline that and be that. Practice living into that. It's the same with your partner, guys. You can being yourself is what your partner needs most. Now, it doesn't mean they won't react and freak out. I'm not saying that. But us being who we are is the gift we give other people. Okay? Take a risk. Be you. Now, if you want to go deeper here, I am going to take some of these conversations offline, and I'll give you specific group coaching on this, and that's in my Relationship School Roots community. All right? Once in a while, I do dollar trial runs for that, and that's over, but you can apply to be a member of our community where we'll have a couple of calls during the holidays on this, where you're going to ask me, well, Jayson, yeah, but check this family situation out, and I'm going to give you coaching on that, okay? So go to jasongaddis.com/roots to apply. That's ROOTS, all right? To apply to become a member and join us in our growth development oriented community. And we have a lot of fun twice a month meeting on these live group coaching calls, all right? And we have our own little Facebook group and lots of back calls, probably 70 or something hours. If you like the podcast, you're going to get 70 something hours you can download and, during a workout or on the commute and listen to me coaching other people and teaching about relationships. So if you want to improve your relationship life and you're moving into 2017 here going, it's time I get my shit together here, great. Start now and join us, okay? And you'll have even more support during the holidays, and we'll help you find a check-in buddy if you're that isolated, okay? jasongaddis.com/roots to apply. All right, friends. And one last thing, December 19th will be our next live Facebook call on how to deal with the family drama, part 2. Part 1 is in the Relationship Roots School community now. I just did a live call on November 14th for people. You may have been there. And I'm doing another one on December 19th at 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So write that down and join me on Facebook Live for that event. Okay, you can find out more at my fan page, facebook.com/Jayson Gaddis fan page. Okay, friends, have an outstanding rest of your morning, day, evening, and we'll talk very, very soon.